Yo guys, what is up? Today I have a very special series I'm bringing back. If you've been on this channel before, you've probably seen it before. And the series I'm bringing back is gameplay analysis, where I go in depth on what I'm doing in game and kind of go through my thought process to help you guys out and to hopefully make your gameplay just a little bit better. But let's get into the game. Today I'm using the AK-74U with the Howard 77 secondary, typical perk setup of Flakjack Attack Mask, Assassin Gearhead, and Ghost and Ninja. And the way I like to open up on A side is to run through this building and rush B, mainly because it's a good way to get at least a couple of kills because everyone on the enemy team is going to be rushing it. And I die right there, but I'm like, okay, well, we're losing B, and having B on this map is probably the best thing you can do, especially on A side. And A side is the best side to be on, and yeah, I don't know what the fuck happened there. You just get these random deaths, whether it's lag or some other shit. I can't explain it, but my routes on this map using an SMG really don't change that much. I kind of run the same routes because running an SMG on this map, I feel like is preferred. And running through this building, I try not to go up on the bridge or the catwalk, whatever you want to call it, to the other building. I feel like it's death because it's such a long range sight, and having an SMG kind of just leaves you pretty vulnerable to assault rifles, LMGs, stuff like that. And you see I have 4 deaths right off the bat here. We still haven't capped B, so I'm kind of going into it this time a little bit more cautiously. I know what I need to do to cap it, and I try not to post up on that box too much because there is that open side right there that exposes my back. Now, I like to push up on this spot right here. It's kind of something I've been trying to do lately, is push up through their spawn and try to start just spawn camping them. But I don't like to go through the door to my right here too much unless I'm going in to catch someone killing a teammate. And I think if I would have ADS at the last second, I would have killed that guy, but who knows? Who knows what would have happened? And you're going to see me slotting a lot, and I would recommend, if you're not slotting, you need to start slotting a lot more than what you're doing, because slotting in this game will catch a lot of people off guard. And I think it's like the best way. Like if you're around a corner, you need to slide. And that situation right there is probably the best use of hip fire I've seen. I'm using the 5-watt laser sight, I believe. And I went to go pull out my secondary there, and I just get blasted. Unfortunately, with the shotgun, you kind of have a little slow time pulling it out. But it is what it is. And I also try to utilize jumping around corners instead of just straight out walking because it can mess up their aim a little bit if they're sitting waiting for you. So if you're running around a corner, the best thing you can do is probably jump around it. And you can also see I tried to get behind the box and use cover, and I took too much damage, and Flakjack didn't save me from the grenade and the enemy's damage there. So we have B, and I saw a teammate kind of pushed up there, so I just run through the store, and I noticed on my map, our team was already in there, so I just chose to go through that door instead of just going through my regular route. But for A side, this is pretty much it. Utilize the building to your advantage and just run through and try to get into the C building, and then you can just pretty much just spawn camp them quite easily, especially if you have another teammate in the other room and a teammate kind of sitting on B watching your ass for people who try to go into the building that way. Usually if you set up like that, winning this side of the map is really easy. It's kind of hard to stop, actually, and that's one thing about Cold War I can say. Like, if you are doing bad on Cold War, it's probably because you don't have the map presence that you should have. And what I mean by that is, if you have a ton of map presence, like I'm trying to have right here, like I'm constantly on B, I'm constantly attacking the objective, and I'm constantly keeping people off the objective. And I try not to post up for too long because doing that usually leads to people shooting you at the back. So what I try to do is get a couple of kills, move, and rinse and repeat. I feel like that's the best way to go about it. Because if you stay in one spot too long, people start catching on and they start running flakes, then you get shot in the back. And you see me running the same way every time, running the same path every time. but it's not really hurt me too much. I mean, I'm still doing decent, in my opinion. And you see there, I post up a couple of seconds, see an enemy on radar, run out the door, pop them off, and then it's the same thing. You keep running the same route every time because that's the best way to go about it. It honestly is. And I figured staying in that room too long was going to be trouble, so I just run up through the other room and start catching people off guard. And honestly, that's the end of the first half there. You can see I already have 23 objective kills, and 20 of those are kills on the objective of the 3 captures. It's not that bad, but the system is kind of broke. And to me, that's Crossfire on A side in a nutshell. It's really just running around, run straight to B, run through this building, catch them as they spawn, rinse, repeat, cut people off. It's typical spawn camping. Now, C-side's where it gets a little tricky. C-side on this map is pretty weak. It's kind of hard to do well on this side. But doing what I like to do on this map is I don't capture the close point at all for my opening round. I'll run through it. Maybe I'll get the points. But I usually like to either A, grenade this room, but I got a war machine. So I'm just going to run through and try to start catching people going to B with my war machine, because war machine is so good for 4,000 points. And it's going to get me some kills here, but I still have problems with blowing myself up. But as you can see, I just wiped out the whole enemy team going to B. And I try not to set on B and try to cap with it because of things like that. I did take out their sentry turret, which is good, but sentry turrets aren't really that great. I get my cruise missile here and just try to catch people going to the objective or just spawning. It's about the best way to use the cruise missiles. Not much to say about that. Now, my routes for C-side differ depending on the situation, depending on the team. There's a lot of ways you can go about it. And if you have an AR, I recommend going this way. I run it because, you know, I'm using 74U. 74U has good range. But running this way with the AR, you can definitely catch people setting on me. But I like to also run up through their building through the bottom sometimes. I don't like to use this route too much because you're very vulnerable to doors and people running up on you. So we decided to cap A right here because the spawn's flipped, because having A on this map's a lot better. But typically my routes for C-side is to run through the building on the catwalk as opposed to avoiding it. And I like to attack B by going through that door too. And as you can see, just mowing people down with 74U. And those people aren't that great. They have bad aim, but just run up on people like that. And, you know, I said earlier to use sliding to your advantage, and that's one way I feel like to not use slide. To use the slide technique is to slide into an objective like that. If you're going to be approaching the objective, the best thing you can do is ADS into it, because there's going to be people on it. And if you know there's going to be people on it, there's no point into just sliding into it and dying like that guy did. And right there, I feel like I posted up too long. I'm like, well, shit. Well, that could have went better. So, like I said, back to what we were doing in the first round. We were going to run to B. We're going to cut people off coming to B through that little area. And I didn't see that guy move. Probably a sniper. Got some hit markers, but well, whatever. There's a teammate there. You can take care of him. Did take care of him. So I rode back. And now I'm just kind of patrolling this area. I don't want to push up into their building right now because, to be honest, they're kind of expecting it. And I finally decided to go in when I feel like the coast is clear and get 2 easy kills, resupply up my grenades, my stim pack, my stim shot, and as you can see, I got too aggressive, got picked off, and it's just a bad time there. So, back to doing the same old. Run through the building, circle into B, post up behind this box, don't see anyone coming, come into this building, and I just get shotgunned. Oh well, it is what it is. It's just one of those unavoidable deaths of, you know, you play aggressive, it's bound to happen sometime. So sitting behind this barrel is a good way to catch people off because it's got good cover. And I try to check all these little nooks and crannies for where people like to sit. I got lucky there. Teammate kind of saved me. I think I would have died if teammate didn't save me there because I didn't have any cover at all. And if you're going to be playing aggressive, if you see someone, just start shooting. That's my best advice. And my team gets a little too rush happy and they flip the spawns. And I don't recommend doing that. even if you're playing domination, like, oh, 3-cap, that's a good idea. It's not a good idea because uh, map presence in this game, map control in this game, plays such a huge factor in doing well. If you don't have map control, a lot of the times, if you're down and out, you're going to stay down and out unless you can flip spawns, force them to cap a close point, and then you get them off B and you cap B. But I get another war machine here, and I kind of don't know what to do with it. I'm like, I don't know where they are. My team's playing too aggressive. I just want kills. I want more kills, and I think right here is a good example of why I try not to use this route too much. You're just really vulnerable coming through this area, I feel like, because of stuff like this. And sometimes I feel like the war machine's too inconsistent with what it's doing. Maybe it's my aiming. I don't know. I'm trying to get better with it. I pay the price for being too aggressive there. And I kind of wish I did have more seaside play to kind of go through like what I want to do on this map, or how I like to play this map. And I'll cover this map again later on, where I have more seaside play. Because honestly, it's nothing too scientific. I like to run through this building, and I'll take the catwalk sometimes, but if they're on B, I try to run through here, but I don't run through here too much, and there's a reason why. Those barrels behind B, people like to post up behind, and usually snipers sit there and pick people off coming out that door. So I try not to run this way too much. I try to flank through the catwalk through A and pick people off, but final score 66-20. God, above me did this really well too. I had 11,000 score. Team we played against weren't that great. You can kind of see it in the gameplay. You know, it's just one of those magical lobbies that I luckily got playing Cold War. So, but I hope that kind of gives you an idea of how I like to play this map, and at least give you a look into it. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and next time I'll try to get more seaside play. But yeah, peace out.